Good afternoon, everybody. It is your hostess with the mostest and your brother from another mother. I truly ain't got no other. It's AB.Marley. What's up, guys?
And it's your girl Nevaeh, your sister from another mister.
Because
Because
you
you know,
know,
Papa
Papa
was
was
a
a
rolling
rolling
stone.
stone.
Y'all gotta bear with me because I got hiccups apparently.
Yeah, she can't even keep her mouth shut long enough.
So if y'all see me bouncing and y'all hear some stuff,
We'll just put a beat
just
to it.
know I got the hiccups. Not the hookups, but the hiccups. Today's letter is T, and the word for the day was actually two words, which is turning point.
Yes.
And AB here is going to let y'all know what that means.
So, in the basics of what we're trying to say, it could be both a good and a negative part of your life, where you have made a turning point to wherever situation that you're going to be in. For as an example, you know how like there's a certain part of your life that you've been constantly repeating. You don't like how it's going and you feel like you're not going anywhere, and then you've upgraded to changing to a different position, whether that's in a job or a life choice, and then you have that point in your life where you're happy at what you've done and you've taken the lessons from the prior thing. Or as a or another one is actually like, you know how like you've been working at your job for quite some time and you want to upgrade yourself to a newer level and build yourself throughout the company, and you finally get that position that you've been seeking for, and now you have a turning point in your life because now you're happier at what you're going through and what you're aiming at. I feel like I just made it too long of an explanation. You have to do that again.
In a sense, turning point is basically when you're making a transition in your life, whether it be for the better or in some cases it can turn out to be worse.
Yes.
But it is basically a decision that you have made in your life to move forward with whatever it is that you want to do. So,
yes.
If you were
it's like making a different decision every time, depending on the outlook of your life.
If let's say you are graduating high school, you're going to college. That's right. A turning point because you are now in the next stage in your life. If you are at a job and let's say you've been, I don't know, like a shift leader or something, and they say, hey, we want you to be a manager, that's a turning point. But also, a turning point could be where you feel like you have dealt with things for so long that you are fed up with it and you're like, I can't deal with this anymore. I have to move on. I have to get out of this situation. So that could be a turning point too. Yes. To where you just feel like you just want to get yourself out of a situation that you no longer want to deal with.
Yes.
And that's absolutely fine because the most important thing that matters is your sanity and you being safe. Okay.
Well, I mean, like when we are talking about turning points, we also got to take into consideration of the times that we make the wrong decisions and become the worst thing that we're not.
Oh, of course, like taking a job offer because it sounds good,
yes.
And then you find out that the job offer you took was nothing but a bag of shit, and you decided to take it anyway.
Yeah, and you stick with it for a long period of time, and then you're unhappy in the choice that you made. So now you're just miserable for the time being until something else comes along. And there are some of us that actually go through that, and or even when it comes to, like for an example, you have been told your whole life you're, a good boy or a good person in general, and people are trying to help guide you, and you misunderstand what they're trying to tell you. And when you take it the wrong way, you decide that you're going to take these people out of your life and decide to make bad decisions anyway because you just want the experience for yourself. So that's where your insanity can be broken down pretty much at that given pinpoint. That's another turning point in your life. You could misunderstand something and it can break and destroy a relationship with that individual or groups of people.
It's really difficult dealing with turning points because these are moments in your life that's about to change.
Yes.
Something that you once knew. And even you getting a job, even though it sounds really simple, it's still a huge thing, especially if it could be your first job, because that establishes independence for yourself.
Oh yeah, it can be a scary process too.
Even getting a job, even getting a house could be a turning point. A car can be a turning point.
Yeah, like pat yourself on the back when you do stuff like that. Don't compare yourself to other people. It doesn't necessarily
mean like turning points doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be something major in life. And I feel like when a lot of people do things, they feel like it has to be on a big scale for it to really mean something. But
that just comes with getting social media and how they perceive things with their life. That's what that problem comes from.
Yeah.
And that's why I say you need to pat yourself on the back every time you accomplish something. Because in reality, you shouldn't be comparing yourself to another person's success because you don't know what they've gone through to get to that point. Everybody has success in their life. Don't be mad at yourself that you are not on somebody else's same level. All you need to do is say, great job, I did a great job, I'm doing this point. You remember how, like we talked about before, where we shouldn't be comparing our past with our current lifestyle?
I mean, to a degree, you have to compare your past to the present because you never know where you've gone if you don't see the past.
Exactly, but I'm speaking of when you're talking about how your past was better than your current situation. Instead of looking at it the other way around, because now you have more knowledge than you did before, and that's why you're in this predicament in the first place. You see
know
what I'm saying?
That just made me think of something. A turning point. Some really dark turning points could be something tragic that has happened in your life, and you may not know how to deal with it, and you flip a switch, just turn into a different person.
Alright. Oh, you mean like the emotional pinpoints in your life?
Yes, definitely, because everyone goes through some type of emotional baggage to where it turns you into a different person.
Honestly.
And it's just one of those things where if you're going through something emotional or something traumatic, there are other outlets for you to deal with those things instead of doing something that could cause harm to you or other people. You just have to find the resources. It's always going to be easier said than done to find an outlet for said things. But you have to, try to find peace within yourself before you try to find solace in something else.
Exactly. Like, you know how like there are unfinished projects that you have not completed. Before you move on to another one, complete the one that you were already working on. Because that's not going to be anything else but a failure, like a bad turning point in your past life. So I'm agreeing with what you were saying. I don't get it sometimes. Like, people just have a tendency to retreat back into themselves. We'll talk about this more later, but that's turning the switch off in your brain and letting your different personalities take over.
Well, I mean, like we said earlier in the video, when you reach a turning point, that's literally just you coming to a brink of like, okay, I've been here, I've dealt with this, I'm here now, and I just want something different, I want something better, I want something fresh, I want something new, and this is what I'm going to do. And can't nobody stop me from doing what it is that I'm trying to accomplish because I see this path and I'm going to go for it. So...
Yes, and that's the truth. We talked about that in previous videos as well. So, but it's the progress that's in between those points that you need to recognize because at the end of the day, like I said, don't compare yourself to other people. Just know when it does happen, yay, great job. What's the next goal?
I will say this. With said turning points, obviously, some decisions you make may be good. Some of them may be bad. But just because you may have made a bad decision or choice doesn't mean that it's always going to be that way. If you have made a bad choice,
just know
it's up to you to try to find a solution to get out of that hole. It's up to you to try to figure out a solution to make it better. If you only look at it like I dug myself in this hole and I can't get out of this hole because it's like this, and you try to ask other people for help, and maybe they may or may not want to help you, you have to understand their reasoning as to why they don't want to help you.
Yeah, because that's just the way their personality works. Or in the other sense, you know how like people walk out of your life and they don't want to be a part of it anymore, or you walk out of theirs because it's going to be based on their emotional baggage or the current situation that they're in, or how much you or the other person has evolved to where that emotional baggage is just bringing them down and they can't do it anymore, which is understandable. I mean, like, if you feel like that you wish to leave out of somebody's life, nobody's going to hate you for that except for the person that doesn't understand. But until they reach that point of their life, it's just going to be what it is. You know, having an emotional baggage, having this dark thought in the back of your head, or never really understanding what's happening to you when you're going through these pinpoints of your life, it's an okay thing. It's just recognizing it is the main thing that you need to do.
Every turning point that you encounter in your life is a different milestone to get somewhere else.
Yes.
Every turning point. That goes with school. That goes with starting your own family. That goes with getting a house, getting a car, getting a job.
Accepting yourself for who you are.
Accepting yourself for who you are. Even people in your life who have passed. Those are all different turning points. Those are going to be all different emotions
that's a good one.
that you have in your life, which are going to determine the steps that you take to move forward, to progress. And sometimes you don't progress. Sometimes you degress. And you just have to find a way to get out of that funk, get out of that depression, get out of that stupor if you do degress. Because as long as you stay down when you degress, you're going to be down. If you don't get yourself up and you don't pick yourself up and you don't reach a turning point with that digression, like, hey, I can't deal with this anymore. I don't want to be like this anymore. You're going to stay like that because you have lost the value within yourself. Of course. You don't understand your own self-worth because you feel like you might not be worth anything.
Speaking from experience, she speaks the truth because I felt like that for a number of years. And I don't know about the rest of the world and how you perceive your life, but it can be a lot when you keep everything inside and then you don't express it to somebody. Because the funny thing is, you know how it sounded better in my head until I said it out loud and I realized how stupid it is.
That sounds like me when I'm making lyrics to a song. It sounds better in your head.
Yeah,
and then when you write it down on paper, you're like, ooh, let me not.
Or you know how like you're imagining yourself as a character in a show and you feel like you can actually do those things, or I have like people that go like, I can do this, I can do that, and I'm like, okay, do it, and then they can't, and it's like it sounded better in your head when you thought about it, but it didn't look good. You know, same concept.
Can you lick your elbow?
Girl, no.
My point exactly.
I'm gonna tell you no, because I don't. I ain't doing all that stuff. But you know, that's all it comes down to. You know, the perception of the way you see things and the way others see it is always going to be different. And no matter what, just make sure that when you are evolving, making great points in your life, that you feel like you're going to do better, then do it. I just feel like that. What's the word I'm looking for? You need to learn to admit it to yourself at every pinpoint. I think that's the whole point I'm trying to get at. When you admit to yourself.
I mean, like you said, life has turning points, and in a way, it's kind of like a video game. You got checkpoints. It's like, it's like everything that you do. It's every small thing that has an impact, and every big thing in your life that has an impact is going to be a checkpoint because you're gonna save that. You're gonna remember.
So it's like when you do there's the main storyline and then there's the side adventures or there's arcade ones where you get to fight amongst people, you get to collect items, and then later down the road, all that extra training that you do when you get to the story mode, you actually might just slay until you get to the more serious battles that are later down the storyline. Those always do help out, and during your time of need, I can honestly say that.
Honestly, side missions, side note, but when it comes to video games and side missions, honestly, side missions are honestly only really good for you to collect things that you need. There is not really ever good for you pertaining to the main story, because usually when you're doing a side mission, it's usually like you trying to get like XP points, or you like trying to get like, I don't know, like skin or tools or some shit.
Right, and then that's where, but this is where you can experiment, because like once you reach a certain level in the game and you can no longer increase your level, then it's all about just tampering with stuff at this point. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, because you're experimenting, so you're just like, well, what works well this way, what works well that way, so and you find different ways to try to make combinations to make better things, to build them, or to get rid of things to make better things.
Right, exactly. So life can be like a video game in some aspects, not all of things. You can't just up and kill somebody and don't think you can't pay for the consequences.
Some games, I'm not going to name a game, but y'all know what I'm talking about. You just can't go up and hit somebody with a bazooka and just keep rolling.
Yeah, no, you really can't. In real life, you would have been blown away. That's how that works. But we say that because we don't want you guys to become stagnant in the choices of your life. You don't stop yourself from continuing to move forward. You understand that there are going to be pinpoints where you're going to be a different person. The thoughts in the back of your head will always drag you into places that you don't want to go. And make sure that when you do recognize what happens to you, speak out loud or speak into existence the thoughts in your head. Because in reality, it sounds a lot better in your head until you speak it out clearly, and then you realize it's really dumb. It's not as good as you thought it was. And that's only sometimes. But the first and main thing that you have to do, you guys, is make sure that you believe in yourself. When you have those times where you're like, I don't feel like my existence matters, this is one of the things that I do every time I wake up. I'm thankful that I got to wake up for another day, and I have a new day to change to the person I wish to be, or I'm happy with the person that I am today, and I will continue to push forward to being that person. You know, be thankful. Be thankful that you're awake. Be thankful that you can make those changes. Be thankful that you even got to experience this, because the reality of it is the world can be a cold place if you perceive it that way. The world can be better if you perceive it in a more positive way. Either way, you have to do something with yourself. Challenge yourself. So make sure to love and cherish everything that you have, you guys. Like, seriously.
All in all, we all have breaking points.
Yes.
We all have turning points, which should just be us saying enough is enough. And even if it's not you saying enough is enough, it's just you saying, like, you just want more, you expect more, and you understand that you have more to offer than just settling. Like I said, turning points necessarily aren't bad things. They're good things too.
Yes.
Just always remember that you are worth more than what anyone else tells you. Only person that knows the value of yourself is you. And that's pretty much it.
Well, you're gonna have to, kick people in the butt a couple of times, because some of them lose their way.
But at the end of the day, no matter what, words are words coming from other people. You do not need affirmation from other people to let you know how well you do. Unfortunately, we as people feel that we need affirmation to continue to keep going. That's just who we are. We feel like the only way that we are good at anything is if anyone tells us, or they let us know how good we're doing, how well we have done it, how great it is that we've been to help them.
And that's
but in all,
it should be us.
But in all, we are our biggest support and our biggest motivators.
Yes.
You can always get advice from anyone else, but
it's still up to you to make the decision.
No one lives your life but you.
Exactly.
You could tell me to go run a mile tomorrow because it'll make me healthier, and I could say, okay, but if I don't run the mile, then that doesn't make me healthier because I didn't do it.
No. But there's a long way in the progress to go with that, but we're not going to get into that.
Indeed.
So, you guys have a wonderful day. This is your brother from another mother, AB.Marley here.
And your sister from another Mr. Nevaeh.
Hey.
And we is
out. Peace. Get your black ass out of here, motherfuckers.
Your clothes are darker than anybody else's.
I thought my sense of humor was...
put that thing back where it came from, or so help me. Bum, 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 bum.
Don't worry. was never for you in the first place.
I hope it wasn't.
Thank you for making me who I am.